What's going on, everybody? This is Moonshine talking. I'm Dan. Aboard. Uh, I'm stuck at home right now. I'm getting my truck serviced, so I'm pretty much stuck in my place. I figured, you know what? I might as well, if I'm here, I'll do a little video. Pretty much. And currently, I took some. I mentioned already, but I'm taking some time off from work. It's around the holiday, so I'm just pretty much just milling about, not really being able to do much. Still dealing with the cracked ribs, so I can't work out. So I pretty much don't know what to do with myself. So I figured make a video. I don't really have any reviews to do because some of the stuff that I wanted to review, I haven't got my hands on yet. Kind of dealing with that. But I did a video earlier this morning, like in the wee hours of the morning, that I did like a news thing that I used my StreamYard and trying to, just trying to utilize that and come up with a different concept of something to do on top of doing the reviews and the show reviews and talking wrestling and all that sort of thing. But I figured I would do something again, doing something a little bit different. But I'm going to talk about uh, a few albums in my collection that I wouldn't consider them like the best of all time. Like, or some people say nowadays, goated. They're not like goated albums, but they're definitely albums that I go back and I continue to go back to. I always find even as I listen to new music and I get into different bands and discover new bands or older bands or whatever the case is, there's always certain things that I tend to go back to. I just kind of gravitate towards those albums. So that's kind of the focus. That's the topic. So I figured I would do that, and I thought it'd be interesting. Just something interesting to talk about. But first, as always, I figured I'd give a little chat-ski about some of the stuff I picked up recently. So a couple things I picked up recently that were pretty interesting was I picked up this album by the band Thou. It's Tyrant. Uh, Thou are they're a Bayou-based Louisiana. They're typically considered sludge metal. They typically get lumped in with like Crowbar and I Hate God and Soylent Green. Although I know that they put out a new album this year, Umbilical, which I haven't heard yet, but I'm going to pick up before the end of the year because I want to see how it rates, in my opinion. But they've been around for a long time, since around '05, '06, '07. I think this came out in '07. But the one I have, it's a repress from Southern Lord Records, and it's killer. I mean, it's sludgy and depressive. The vocals are more really harsh to death metal screams and growls and stuff like that would be the style, but very very good. Definitely not quite in the same vein as Crowbar. They have a little bit more of like a drone element to what they do. The tracks are really, really long. There's only like 5 tracks on this entire album, but it is killer. And if you want one, check out some of you can see the album booklet. Yeah, just fantastic work that they did. I thought I thought the cover too was the cover and the sleeve and everything was pretty cool because it's cardboard, but it's like not that it's not like that slick. It's not that slick style of a cover that most people are familiar with. But if you're not familiar with these guys and you want to check out a song based on my recommendation, I would say I Was Ignored and Judged and Cast Down. That is a fantastic track if you want to get a feel for their stuff. And they've put out plenty of albums since, but definitely go check out Thou. They're that's tremendous. And then a couple others. I don't really have to talk too much about them because everybody here is gonna know about this band and these bands, I should say. So recently, I went to a place called Steelworker Records, which is a local shop here in the Tampa area, and they specialize in a lot of underground stuff. And you're already getting to see what this one is. It's spoiling it a little bit, but they do a lot of underground stuff. They sell a lot of underground, harder to find stuff, and they are a local distributor for Cogamelo Records. And through watching Revik and the Morton Red channel specifically, I started to learn about like the Brazilian death metal scene and thrash scene that's exceeds anything that Sepultura did and gets glossed over a lot because of the popularity of Sepultura. So I started learning about bands from there and that label and all that sort of thing. And so I picked up a couple things. I was like, oh, I'll pick those up. So one of them was, and I'm going to cover that because, the boobies, is Sex Trash, Sexual Carnage, and INRI, Sarcophago, or Sarcophago INRI. They're really good. I enjoy them. I probably honestly like the Sex Trash a little bit better. But yeah, that's killer stuff. Next time I go there, I'm going to pick up a couple more things and kind of dive a little bit deeper into some of the stuff that came out of that era and that region of the world. And yeah, really killer stuff. And then also, as far as something a little different, I did hear a new album recently. I haven't picked up, but if you're a fan of Chemist or Mastodon stuff like that, there's a band called Sergeant Thunderhoof. They're out on Pale Wizard Records, and the name of the album is The Ghosts of Baden Hill. And it's got that feel, like that vibe of like a Chemist, like the more melodic, doomier, not so much epicier aspects of doom, but kind of that more like that sort of thing, more like the melodic and like soaring vocals and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really cool. It's about like a 5 or 6 track album if I remember correctly, and it's pretty good. It's worth a listen. Just check it out. I listened to it on YouTube and it was pretty decent. But yeah, so there was that. And yeah, as far as the topic at hand, so I wanted to talk about some of the albums that I listen to that I go back to quite regularly. So let's get into it. So one of the ones I tend to go back to quite frequently, which probably be no surprise to anybody, is Witch Cult Today by Electric Wizard. I friggin' love this album. The whole thing from top to bottom is tremendous. From Witch Cult Today all the way to Saturnine, uh, Torquemada, Satanic Rites of Drugula, freaking the whole thing is amazing. It's just a fantastic doom metal masterpiece. It's absolutely one of the best albums I think that's ever been made. And yeah, so I always find myself going back to that quite a bit. Just the riffs on it, the Dunwich is just a killer song. The whole thing is fantastic. Just a tremendous album. And then also then another one that I go back to quite frequently and have for a very long time is Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. I love this album. I grew up on this album, everything about it. The whole album is superb. I'd say other than probably Sistinus, it's kind of a lame track, but it is what it is. But yeah, the whole thing, Dirty Black Summer, How the Gods Kill, Bodies. I never really used to like Bodies, but that kind of grew on me over time. Godless is just tremendous. you know, Left Hand Black. It's just the whole thing is killer. Anything is probably one of my favorite tracks on it. You got the H.R. Giger cover art. Just a killer album. This was a huge album when I was growing up and getting into metal at the time. Really starting to dig into stuff that wasn't just like hard rock and hair band stuff. That's kind of where I started gravitating towards the more underground or extreme stuff. That's kind of was one of my bands. It was like a gateway band, if you will. But yeah, I've really good stuff. Another one. This is a newer band, but I know everybody's probably familiar with them. I reviewed their newest album recently. But that first Bewitcher album, the self-titled, this thing is a freaking. This is amazing. Just an amazing album. Speed Till You Bleed is a fantastic thrash song. You're not familiar with them, they're more like a Black and Speed thrash band. but they do it right. Harlots of Hell's great. Freaking Bewitcher, the title track, is just superb, just excellent uh, thrash thrash and speed with the hints of Black and Death. It's just tremendous. Sin is in her blood. Before at my job, quick little backstory. Before we used to do like Metal Mondays, and because a lot of the staff, even though they're not really like metalheads, like you or I would define a metalhead, they listen to more what would be considered more like normie stuff, like Ghost and Dream Theater and Deftones and stuff like that. But I'll play stuff like that for them, and then I'll throw on some Goat Whore, and I would play Bewitcher religiously. Like Bewitcher was one of the main ones I'd play quite a bit. I'd always, throw on some Midnight and a couple other bands I would toss on there occasionally. Throw on a little bit of Acid Bath occasionally. Threw on Absu one time, and people were kind of like, customers started freaking out a little bit too much. So I was like, all right, maybe we'll back off a little bit. But this is a fantastic album. If you don't have that, go pick it up. I wouldn't say that your collection isn't complete without it, but I would definitely say it's a worthy addition to anybody's collection if you're not really familiar with the band itself. Definitely a fine place to start. Spell Shock is a really good album. That's the one that just came out recently. And yeah, go check them out. Bewitcher's fantastic. Great live. Tremendous. They won't let you down. And then next up, I got a couple cassettes. I have these on CD, but I thought it'd be kind of like I'd be a little bit of hipster douchey and just show them on cassette. But I have Solitude Eternus Through the Darkest Hour. I was listening to this while while I was out of power here when the hurricane came rolling through here last month, and it was I haven't spun it in a while, but I just said I want to listen to that. This seems like a perfect time to listen to this album, and yeah, man, the whole thing is just tremendous. The whole band is killer. I mean, this epic doom done right. Falling, the eighth day is fantastic. The ninth day is great. Pain, freaking Pawns of Anger. You listen to Robert Lowe's vocals, especially on that one. I'm not even gonna try to attempt his vocals, but you hear him hit some of the notes on that, and just how powerful and epic it is. That's probably the best way to describe it. Is it's epic doom. It's just a fantastic album, and I love this. I've been listening to this forever since I was a kid. And I was really starting to get into metal. Of course, I picked it up on cassette back in the day, so that's one of those things I go back to quite a bit. I ended up picking it up on CD when I started building up my Solitude Eternus collection. And yeah, you can't go wrong with that one. That one's a phenomenal album. They're a tremendous band. In my opinion, not enough people talk about them, but they're one of my favorites. And then finally, I'll go with Clandestine by Entombed. I love this album. I know a lot of people give Entombed shit, and they say around Wolverine Blues they started losing their way or whatever the case might be. But I love Wolverine Blues, but I probably love Clandestine a little bit more. Um, It'd be hard to say if I like it more than Left Hand Path, but I would have to, really like sit down and break it down and kind of think about it. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. It might, depending on my mood. I know they had different vocalists, so that's kind of like that's a sticking point. But yeah, probably one of the first, well, not probably the first song I heard of theirs was Stranger Eons, and I ended up originally I picked up I'll just show it real quick. It's right around the corner for me. But I picked up the Stranger Eons single deal on cassette, and that's phenomenal. But yeah, this whole album is tremendous. Just Living Dead, Sinners Bleed, Evil End, ending with Through the Colonnades. The whole thing is tremendous. I just love that when I first heard Evil Lynn, that was kind of like I mentioned before, I'm kind of like a guitar tone junkie. And just hearing that and that HM2, that of course at the time I had no idea what that I wouldn't have known that that was a pedal that they were using, and that was creating the sound, the buzzsaw, chainsaw guitar sound that's so synonymous with Swedish death metal of the time, and is being brought back with a lot of different bands nowadays, like freaking like Gatecreeper and Nails and a bunch of bands. Like I even heard a couple bands over the weekend at the show I went to. I heard a bunch of them. You could tell they were using pedals like that or pedals that were similar to it, replicating that sound. But yeah, that's just some of my go-tos. It's not a comprehensive list. It's certainly these aren't the greatest things of all time. I'm not saying that, but these are just things that I tend to go back to on a regular basis. And I thought it would be kind of cool to just talk about that as opposed to just doing new reviews or collection updates. Just kind of a cool topic. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. But yeah, so that's what I got for you. I am I'm in the process. If you're watching my channel, if you've seen some of the stuff I've been posting the past couple days, I've been a kind of a busy boy. Um, I've been posting a lot of shorts from the Swarm Fest that I went to, just showing off little like clips of some of the live performances that I thought were most noteworthy. I'm going to eventually do a comprehensive thing about Swarm Fest. I just got to sit down and kind of do it. I did one already, but it just went too long. And like I said in the video that it took me like 40 minutes to go over the Devastation on the Nation tour, and that was only 5 bands. Now imagine me talking about 30 bands and how long that would take. That'd kind of give you an idea. And then trying to add live footage and all that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to whittle it down a little bit because, even though some people probably criticize me for this, but I don't care. I just be honest that, I look at my analytics on the thing and I can see that people don't really watch my videos for long stretches of time. I wish they would, I wish everybody who watched my videos would subscribe, but that's not the case. So, you take what you can get doing this sort of thing, if you want to do it, if you care about it, because I do a little bit, I don't want to sit here like a crazy person just talking to myself, but I've already met a bunch of people and, hopefully do some cool stuff with them. But the point being, as I'm babbling on, is that, I see people don't watch my videos they're not going to sit and watch a 40-minute video of me babbling about some show that I went to. So I try to whittle it down a little bit, try to make it a little more digestible for people because I'm sure, again, I have a face for radio and a voice for silent movies. So I understand that people don't want to take a whole lot of time out of their day to watch stuff that I'm doing. So try to whittle it down because I still want to share with everybody. I like sharing. And yeah, so I'm just kind of just doing that, trying to condense it, make it a little bit more of a, have it be comprehensive, have all the live footage in there, but at the same time, not have it be to where like it's just too much for everybody. I'm looking down. I think I'm blowing out my mic as I'm sitting over it and screaming into it like a crazy person. But yeah, that was the idea. That's kind of that's what I got going on. Also, a quick shout out to Shredbeard, Trevor. He had a little mailbox of killer shit that he got. I sent him a bunch of stuff. I just sent it to him because Trevor's a cool dude. He supports my channel. He's one of the main people that really he's always putting me over, shouting me out, and all that sort of good thing. He invites me on his live streams and all that sort of stuff. So I just wanted to say thank you to him. I've done that for a few people. I like doing stuff like that. I like trying to do nice things for people who are cool with me. As opposed to you know people who don't really seem to appreciate it or care. I've had people do that in the past. You do nice things, try to be thoughtful and all that sort of stuff, and then they're complete shitheads to you. So it's like, oh, okay, I don't think I want to do that for you anymore. You kind of suck. So I try to do it for people that might actually appreciate it. And yeah, so that was the idea behind that. If you wanted to actually, cool. I'm hitting the 20-minute mark here, but cool story about that. So I went, took it to the place to ship it off, And the friggin' guy tried to charge me triple what the post office was going to charge me. So screw that guy. I should have probably known better by looking at what he was watching on TV. I should have realized he was kind of a scumbag. So I just figured, you know what? I probably won't go to that place anymore. Besides, the place smells and the guy smells. So it's like that was kind of a dead giveaway. But anyhow, that just kind of like a quick story behind, behind the scenes as far as like getting that shipped out to Trevor. So Trevor, if you watch this, that was kind of the quick story about it. Some jackass tried to charge me like triple the shipping cost of what it was going to cost when I went to the post office to send it off. So, again, screw that guy. Screw his business. I won't go there again. But it is what it is. So anyhow, that was that. I hope you all enjoy this. You enjoyed it. Let me know if there's anything that you consider like your like go-to stuff, and maybe try to start a conversation here and there. But yeah, that's it. That's what I got for you. As always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck your chin. Don't forget to breathe. Everyone have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll probably post another video or something or other soon, but if I don't do it before Thanksgiving, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Spend time with your families as much as any of you can, and go get the itis and fall into a food coma, and that'd be the best I can tell you. But don't stay in the coma, because I like to see people coming back here. But anyhow, everyone take it easy. Have a good one. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.